Aston Martin didn't just make a big announcement tonight, they detonated a bomb inside the entire Formula One paddock. For the first time in his legendary career, Adrian Newey, the man behind the most dominant cars the sport has ever seen, is officially stepping into the team principal role. And if that wasn't shocking enough, Andy Cowell, the engine genius whose work at Mercedes created the hybrid era's unstoppable power units, is moving into a brand new strategy position. This isn't a leadership shuffle. This is a declaration of war for 2026. Because in a year when every team is scrambling to survive the regulation reset, Aston Martin has just combined the two sharpest minds in the sport, one who dominates aerodynamics and one who rewrites power unit history. And together, they're about to lead a full works project with Honda behind them, and one of the most aggressive owners Formula One has ever seen, Lawrence Stroll. Inside the paddock, this wasn't expected. Nobody, not even Red Bull's closest insiders, predicted that Newey would step into this kind of political role. He's always been the quiet mastermind, the sketchbook genius who lets his designs speak for him. But now, he's going to be standing in front of the cameras, making race strategy calls, commanding the garage, controlling trackside operations, managing the chaos. And that should terrify the rest of the grid, because when Adrian Newey isn't just designing the car, when he's leading the entire racing operation, the potential for domination becomes real. This is the first time since the 80s that Newey will hold this much raw power inside a Formula One team. And here's the crazy part. The timing is perfect. 2026 won't be a normal reset. It's not just new aerodynamics. It's not just new engine rules. It's everything: aero, power unit, fuel, ERS, efficiency, weight distribution, chassis integration. It's the kind of reset where the smartest team wins, not the fastest. And Aston Martin now has two giants who specialize in exactly the areas that matter most. Newey dominates chassis, airflow, and packaging. Cowell dominates hybrid power systems and energy deployment. This isn't a leadership split, it's a master plan, and that's why the two men have agreed to divide their responsibilities so sharply. Cowell steps up as Chief Strategy Officer, a role designed around engine chassis integration, fuel optimization, and high-level partnership structure with Honda, Aramco, and Valvoline. Instead of managing people, he's now managing the entire technical ecosystem. Meanwhile, Newey becomes the general on the front lines, guiding the technical team, controlling the trackside operation, and shaping the car's identity from day one of the new rulebook. The shift isn't subtle, it's ruthless, and Stroll knows exactly what he's doing. Because let's be honest, Aston Martin wasn't becoming a championship team by accident. You don't build that new state-of-the-art factory for fun. You don't sign Newey for nostalgia. You don't bring Honda into a full works partnership unless your goal isn't just to win races, but to win era-defining titles. And the internal structure already reflects that ambition. Over the last 14 months, Andy Cowell was doing the dirty work, rebuilding, restructuring, cleaning out old systems, modernizing the organization, and preparing the entire operation for the future. He wasn't brought in to win races this year. He was brought in to prepare the battlefield. And now, with the foundations ready, he hands the keys to the man everyone fears, Adrian Newey, the one designer whose cars have defined almost every dominant period in the sport for the past 3 decades. And it's not just the paddock that's shaken. The drivers are paying attention too. Fernando Alonso has been dreaming of one last shot at glory. Lance Stroll has been protected by Lawrence, but knows the pressure is coming. Aston Martin's future driver lineup becomes one of the most explosive questions heading into 2026. Because with Newey in charge, you no longer attract midfield talent. You attract world champions, you attract proven killers, you attract drivers who want to redefine their career. The timing of Newey's appointment also reveals something deeper. Red Bull's decline is happening faster than people think. Because Newey would never take a role like this unless he believed a fresh era was achievable, unless he believed Aston Martin could beat his own former creation, unless he believed Honda could produce a monster power unit, and unless he believed Lawrence Stroll was willing to hand him full creative control. And let's not forget, Honda's engines with Red Bull were breaking records. They carried Verstappen to some of the greatest seasons in F1 history. Now Honda is pairing that next-generation power unit with Newey's chassis philosophy. That combination is something the sport hasn't seen in decades. The closest comparison is McLaren-Honda in the Senna-Prost era. And Cowell's involvement is even more genius than people realize. He's not just an engine guy. He's not just a technical mind. He's the man who built the DNA of the most successful hybrid engine of all time. His formula? Integration, seamlessness, zero wasted energy, zero wasted airflow, zero wasted performance. And that's exactly what 2026 requires. The new power units will depend massively on battery efficiency. Cars will need to harvest and deploy energy at an unprecedented scale. The ERS will no longer be a minor boost. It will be the soul of the car. And Cowell knows how to build systems that don't just work, they dominate. Meanwhile, Newey ensures that every millimeter of the chassis is optimized around that system. Every curve, every airflow path, every cooling tunnel, every suspension design is shaped to enhance the heart of the car. Two geniuses, one mission. And that's why Lawrence Stroll's statement sounded so confident. He didn't say this was a leadership shuffle. He didn't say this was reactionary. He said it plainly. These changes are meant to play to our collective strengths. Collective strengths, meaning the real project begins now. And Newey's own statement confirms everything. He said he's been observing the talent within the team. He said the next year will be unlike anything they've seen. He said he's stepping into this role to position Aston Martin for 2026. And he said Cowell's role, integrating the new PU with the team's three major partners, will be pivotal. That word pivotal is not accidental. It means Aston Martin's entire 2026 project revolves around one idea. The car, the engine, the fuel, and the chassis must operate as one. That's how dominance is built, not with speed, with harmony. And that's what Newey does better than any designer in history. The truth is, Newey's biggest strength has never been just aero. It's integration. He builds cars where every component enhances the others, where the engine is part of the bodywork, where the chassis blends into the cooling system, where the aerodynamics match the suspension philosophy. He creates one machine instead of a collection of parts. If Aston Martin gets this right, 2026 might not be a three-team fight. It might be a one-team era, because Red Bull without Newey is vulnerable. Mercedes without dominance is directionless. Ferrari is still recovering from the SF25 disaster. McLaren is fast but chaotic and under investigation. And now Aston Martin stands at the edge of something we haven't seen in years. A team preparing to take over the sport from the ground up. This restructuring isn't cosmetic, it's strategic, it's calculated. And it's the clearest sign yet that 2026 may be the year everything changes. And through all of this, the paddock is whispering one question. Why would Adrian Newey, at 66 years old, step into the most political, most stressful, and most demanding role in Formula One? There's only one answer. He sees something coming, something big, something Aston Martin believes they can win. And if Newey believes it, the rest of the grid should be terrified. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe, because the 2026 chaos is just getting started.